What's goody? Welcome back to Hot Breath, the show where you learn comedy from the pros. That is your host, Guinness. I am your co host, comedian Joel Byers. And this channel is all about helping you learn comedy from the pros and become part of the next generation of great comics. I've interviewed over 300 comedians on this channel and get a lot of questions from you. And a big one I keep getting is about creating a tight 5-minute set. And today's topic is act outs. It is adding that extra dimension to your performance. So I have a few quick tips for you to help you level up your type 5 and also a bonus one at the end all about impression. So the first one is to show, don't tell. A lot of the times we use a lot of words to describe something that we could easily just perform or animate instead. And you don't have to be the best actor. I should say this all up front. You don't have to be a trained actor. You don't have to be an actor. There are little cues you can do that even if you aren't an actor, you don't do wild and crazy characters, there's little performance cues you can do to still add a new dimension and add that acting to your set. So in showing and not telling, a big part is a lot of times we may describe someone as, oh, it was a jovial, rotund man who always came into work late with his coffee and he was panting because he ran inside or whatnot. But what you could do instead is actually, if you're talking about this rotund man, is you could actually like physically show yourself. And that's Bill from work. He always comes in late, like huffing and puffing, drinking his coffee. Like you can actually, instead of telling us what he's doing and how he looks while doing it, you can just show us, which takes me to the next point here, which is to actually, instead of narrating, start acting. So a lot of the times we say, this one time at that one place, so and so said such and such to me. But a very effective way to actually just take us to that moment. The audience is going to be way more connected when it's in the present, when you take us to the scene that you're describing, to where you talk to your coworker instead of saying, "Oh, last year at work, I saw Bill come in late and I approached him like, 'Hey Bill, you're late again.' And he said, 'Well, you know how I am. Better late than never, am I right?'" Instead, you could just take us to that moment and be like talking about work. It doesn't have to be a year ago. You could just say it just happened today or whatever and say, "Oh, Bill, late again, huh? Well, you know how I am. Better late than never." So both terrible act outs right there. But you can see, even as someone as terrible of an actor as I am, just simple cues of saying a voice in this direction, looking in that direction now signifies I'm speaking. Saying the other voice in this direction now notifies that Bill is speaking. So just a simple shift in your point of view will indicate which character is talking, even if you can't throw your voice and do actual characters. So that's a quick way to, even if you're not doing voices, looking this way, one person speaking, while looking this way, the other person is speaking, is another way to do act out. But the biggest thing of all, and everything in my 11 years of comedy, what I have learned in doing act outs, the best tip is to start incremental. I always set a goal when I do a set of just a single goal of I want to try this new punchline or I want to try this new act out, or on this joke, I'm just going to get absurd with the character and see how much fun I can have with it. And just start to build your act outs incrementally. Go through your sets, and in a previous video, I actually talked about transcribing your sets to see where the punchlines are, to where you can start editing them down. But also go through your set and see the opportunities to do characters, to bring in different voices. Really start to look through your set and how you can start to add that extra dimension. Because it's one thing to really just be speaking and doing your jokes from this, but when you actually start bringing in your entire physicality and start having that stage presence, that's when the jokes come to life, and that's when you really engage with the audience. Personal material is the perfect place to start, and then when you bring in that personal performance aspect to it, you're golden, my friends. So I hope that really helps you in just a few minutes here to just kind of get out of that comfort zone of just standing there reciting your jokes and really starting to bring them to life incrementally, piece by piece. Now, a lot of people's, as this bonus coming up, ask about impressions. I've interviewed several people who are really great at impressions. I'm personally not great at impressions, but what I have learned from interviewing so many people is their number one tip is that you pick something specific about this person and then just exaggerate it for comedic effect. So if they have a funny voice, or if they're Rodney Dangerfield and they say, "Hi, I tell you, I get no respect." I think Guinness is about tired of watching me do these terrible impressions. But you see, it was Rodney Dangerfield. You kind of throw his voice a little bit and do this exaggerating thing. It's just a very quick way to do impressions. So think about that when you're doing your characters as well. Even if you're not doing impressions, trying to figure out how to act out someone. Think about something specific, a specific trait they have, whether it's a physical or vocal trait, and then just exaggerate it for comedic effect. It's a very simple way to just add that new energy into your set. Act outs really bring an energy and a performance aspect to your sets that when you do see comics out there really performing on stage and really putting on a show, they all started somewhere, and they all started with first learning the fundamentals and then applying them over time. Comedy is a marathon, my friends. So just take these tips you hear in this video and our previous videos and all of our interviews and just apply things incrementally over time. And in a few months of just incremental shifts, you're going to see a big difference. So I hope you found that helpful. If you want to connect with me and comics around the world in the Hot Breathiverse, go join our free Facebook group where we do all sorts of events and Q&As and daily writing clubs, all to help you get better at comedy faster. We are all about being positive and supportive and collaborative, but productive. You got to put in the work. All of these videos that you watch on my channel or others, or you take courses or you read books, it only works if you do. Now it's time to put in the work. Go forth, hot brethren and sistren. Apply these tips. Leave a comment with your favorite tip below and maybe how you're going to apply it at your next show. And I hope to see you in our Facebook group. Bye. Dab on them, Guinness. Get to work.